How's it going, Randall?
That music, that opening music, that's pretty cool. The outro music's pretty good too. Like, isn't it?
So that was made by Jay. You remember Jay?
Yeah, I think so.
He does
I'll
DJ in
say
his spare
yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he decided to put together some music all of our own. So
yes,
no one else has it.
Aren't most geeks DJs in their spare time for some reason?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like I'm looking at taking on a karaoke show coming up soon, so that would be sort of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I've done it a few times, and I'm so addicted to karaoke anyway that I have a pretty good sense of what the audience wants to do and how they want it to run, and they don't want me chattering all the time. They just want people to be able to get up and sing, and so I'm pretty good at that. And also filling in, because I have over 200 songs in my playlist now that I can play on a moment's notice, so it's easy for me to kind of fill in the gaps when somebody's not submitting songs. So it's a good deal. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's all right for some. Anyway, all right, let's get straight into this.
It's not for everyone. It's true. Yes, definitely.
Last week we missed it, I'm afraid. Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't make it last week, but we'll try and make up for it this week.
Circumstances.
Let's drive straight in.
Sometimes circumstances, yes. And yes, I am wearing an IO24 t-shirt. It was the thing closest to me while I was trying to get dressed, so I figured that would work. So here we are. Hi, yeah. So let me go through and read the rules here. So be nice, be respectful, be constructive. So just be good to each other, be kind to each other in the chat room and stuff. And if you're not doing that, we do have ban hammers, so be careful. Don't post anything that is adult, rude, or offensive. Again, ban hammers will be enacted. Don't advertise or promote anything. If your face is not on the screen, do not be pitching your website. Because it doesn't even matter, because you can't type URLs in the chat. So don't even try it. We're not even going to see it. Don't spam. In other words, don't post the same thing again and again. In particular, do not post a question and then post the question again 20 minutes later. What will happen is you're in a place in the queue, and all of a sudden you're now 20 minutes later in the queue, and your question will take a lot longer to wait for the answer for. So we see all, we notice all, and if you post the same thing twice, we start paying attention and start either censoring you or just simply making you waste more of your time, I guess. Well, it's not a waste of time to listen to the rest of the show, but it means it takes more time for you to get your answer. And again, because we have the ban hammers, harassment of any kind is not tolerated. We will take action. So be careful on that. But do have a good time, because that's why we keep coming back here, is because we enjoy sharing our knowledge with you all. And we hope that you are also having a good time too. And tell your friends about the show. Make sure you subscribe, because subscription numbers do count and do matter. And all that. How's that for a startup there, Mr. Simon?
Wonderful. Thank you. We're just still getting things underway here. We're going to do some live coding, hopefully, and kind of get back into doing some of that throughout the show.
Much more fun than dead coding. Although it's the time of year where we probably could expect some dead coding. Halloween.
Yeah.
Is that not a big thing in Europe too?
It's not a big thing in the UK. Not like it is in America.
I bet Thanksgiving isn't either. I wonder why.
So we actually have a thing that we do basically every weekend called a Sunday roast, which is basically Thanksgiving dinner every Sunday.
Oh man! Oh wow! That would be.
We don't have it once a year. We have it every week.
That would make me a stuffed with stuffing kind of guy. That would be horrible. Yeah. But stuffing is not the healthiest stuff on the planet. So now I know all this stuff. I used to not know this, and now I'm much better about all that. We've got a few questions actually starting to come in, which is good. So, how did we miss that? Is there Oh, we didn't do introduction and stuff yet. That's why.
Oh yeah. Should we do some introduction? We should probably do that. I don't know. I guess so.
Do the slide just to say who's not here, I guess.
So, hello everyone. My name is Simon Lightfoot, Flutter Community Leader, CTO at Dev Angels London. You can follow me on Twitter at Dev Angels London. Scott can't be here. Randall.
That's all you're going to say about Scott? Hi, Scott. Scott's probably watching and just reading.
He'll be back next week.
Yeah, good. I hope so. And I'm Randall Schwartz. I am a Dart and Flutter Google developer expert, one of 10 in the US, one of about 150 in the world, and been that status for about 6.5 years or so. So from the very beginning, the first batch of Dart and Flutter experts. And what that means is I spend a lot of time patrolling the socials, as I call it, which is that I'm watching Stack Overflow, Reddit, occasionally Facebook, Slack, and Discord for questions that are coming out. And my nose is really not being happy today. I answer questions all the time. So I'm probably spending 1 or 2 hours a day answering all y'all's questions. And that's why I also like doing it on the show, because it's a lot of what I'm doing a lot of every day anyway. I also do presentations at GDG meetups, and I attend conferences and just try to basically spread the Flutter love around, to be one of the guys that's, if you might want to call them, a brand ambassador for the Flutter and Dart project. So for this show, I am, in fact, have that role specifically as the question magician, which means that I am watching the chat for you to ask questions. How do I know it's a question? Because you have put Q: in front of it. With the Q:, I can distinguish it from the rest of the normal chat. You can go, oh, that's one for us. That's one that goes in here it goes, in the queue. That's how we get it in the queue, because you put a Q on it. Okay, that's the trick for that. We've already had a couple of people do that already, and so we're noting those even as I speak. I'm staring with half an eye over in that direction to kind of see which chat questions have now come in and start flagging those. But in the meanwhile, I think that's enough of an introduction for me.
So I think we could just get straight to questions, couldn't we?
Sure.
I mean,
sure. Let me flag the ones that just came in. Got that. Let me push the button that tells me where the first question is. Here is the first question, and we were talking before the show that this may be something we're going to be doing live coding on. So just like Gemini, I want to create an application that will have transparent background and the capabilities to read user events. Is it even possible with Flutter? All in caps, so that must be the important part of the message.
So it's possible on Android. I mean, Flutter runs on Android, so yes, you can do it in Flutter, right? Like that's what it comes down to. But what you're actually doing here is you're heavily integrating with the operating system, which means yes, you can use Flutter to do the rendering. In fact, I'll show you how you make a transparent application in just a moment. In a moment, we'll do some live coding on that. So we'll leave this one on the list, Randall. But
sure.
But to read user screen events, that's like the accessibility service, and there's information around how you do that. And so when someone installs your app, part of the introduction of getting your app going is you ask to install your accessibility service, and then your app can then be called up to read the screen and other information from other applications, just like an accessibility app would do to read the screen. And then you can do whatever you need to do over the top of that.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to hold on to this question for later in the show. Let's move on. Could Dart will make a place in native Android as Kotlin does? My answer already in the chat was Dart is already compiling to ARM. It is at the level of Kotlin already. So are you talking about something beyond that? Because it's already native-ish. It's already it sits right alongside any Kotlin code that you have at the same level that Kotlin is. So maybe, I don't know, Simon, you got anything to say to that?
Well, I was wondering what they actually mean here. Could Dart replace? Maybe it's replace. Would Dart replace the native Android Kotlin
No.
as Kotlin Dart? Kotlin doesn't replace native. That you got that wrong. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Java and Kotlin both compiled to Java bytecode. Java bytecode is then converted to Dalvik. Dalvik bytecode is what the Android operating system interprets.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So there you
That's
have it. Okay.
And
There you
it
have
does they do AOT compiling and other things, but in the root of it, that's how it works. And I mean, I don't see any reason why you would want to do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
You
No.
can already so let me be clear. You can already call all the APIs that are in Android straight from Dart using F5.
Right.
So there's literally no need to replace it, right? Like you can already do that.
Yep. All right. Let's go to the next one then. How do I add a clickable file location in a comment? What kind of comment?
Square bracket.
Code?
Oh, I see what you mean.
That
No,
navigates to a
like,
file when clicked. Do I need to add any lender or dev dependency for this?
So that's an interesting point. So basically, Dart doc and the things that you do in there normally use square brackets to indicate this thing is something that should be interpreted by Dart doc. So like a class name or a variable name and things like that. And then it's down to the IDE to interpret that and direct it to the right location. I've not tried putting in a path and so in there, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't interpret that. You would normally the way you specify a file with a line is a colon. So you do the file path colon, then the line number, and then another colon and a column number if you want to direct to a particular place. But yeah, how can I make it? I mean, that's like you're asking basically how do you do it? It's not lint or dev dependency for this. This is an IDE plugin. Reading comments and interpreting comments in some special way would be part of your IDE. It's nothing to do with Flutter and its dev engine or anything like that.
Or he could be talking about the result of Dart doc running on this. How do you make it so that your documentation points at a file? Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
so the resulting documentation links, we can just put HTML in there.
Yeah.
Embed a link.
Yeah. Okay. There are ways. If none of the answers we just gave complete your problem, please continue to ask again, and later in the show we'll get back to it. That's the way we run. Sorry,
yeah,
what?
I'm just wondering actually if the official Dart doc tooling actually gives you information around like how to format things.
Oh, there is a follow-up. Let me scroll down to it. Where is it? Here. I do mean a Flutter plugin. Navigate to example files working. Well, that's even fuzzier.
You don't mean a Flutter plugin, you mean the IDE plugin.
Yeah, I would have.
Because a Flutter plugin is for your app.
Yeah.
I'll go look up I'll go look up writing IDE plugins for whatever IDE you're using.
Right, and it's definitely going to be different for JetBrains products versus VS Code. So
exactly, and, there's not really, and it's very specific, and there's lots of information around doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you can also go find a similar plugin, look at its GitHub repo, and use that as a basis.
Yes,
but
borrow knowledge. Yes.
Yeah, but debugging and doing that kind of stuff is, it's not simple.
It's beyond the scope of this particular series of shows. We'll just mark it all the way out there. Okay, let's see here.
I did find. Let me see when I bring this up. So there's actually documentation in the Dart doc repo. And I'll pop this link in the chat. And I can also share this, I think. Hang on. Let's see, share.
Oh, here's a follow-up again. Inside the official doc, we can navigate to examples of the widget.
Yeah.
Same thing I'm doing in my project.
Yeah, they're doing post-processing on it. So they've customizing doc generation, right? And that's actually all in here. Look, so hang on a minute, let me bring this up.
Yeah, there's a lot of special casing in Dart Doc for or I guess maybe post-processing for it.
Yeah, Dart doc generation here. And yeah, you can set up Dart doc options YAML, and then you can specify how you want it to process, what categories, tons of fields and configurations and everything. I mean, they even have a link to source.
Yeah.
Right? Excludes your templates, relative line number. Right.
Yeah, cool.
I think they actually do.
This is the thing that it generates the little link in the upper right corner of the page, because I use that a lot. The little upper right corner on the API pages.
So, other category tags. What's this? Allows you to filter parts of the documentation through external tools and then include the output of that tool in place of the given input. Exactly what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And there you go. Here's some examples here of how you can configure them.
Cool.
All in the documentation. So read the document.
Yes.
Injecting HTML, whatever HTML you want, linking to source. There you go. So have fun.
Imagine the stuff about documentation actually being documented. Wow. The universe is just folded in on itself. Yes, absolutely. Okay, we'll call that one done though. Yes. Do you guys have any suggestions on how to theme a Flutter app? Yes, use the theme technology. Are there any resources you recommend to make theming easy? I like Flex Color Scheme only because it has so many knobs. I could never finish understanding them all before a new release comes out. So that's a cool part. There are lots and lots of knobs in Flex Color Scheme. But the great thing is you can, if you like one of the default color schemes, it's cut and paste about 20 lines of code. It's really simple for that. And then you can start to tweak from there. But you get beautiful themes, you get coordinated themes where you're giving it 2 or 3 colors and it fills in all the shades and all the tints and everything you need to be able to do it according to material design specifications, which is great. So this is really about implementing that theme widget. And that's core back to the answer for this question, which is try to use the theme, and if you have to, theme extensions in order to convey your colors down the tree. Because you're going to have someday where you've got a whole thing laid out in sort of bluish colors. And then someone says, well, all the onboarding stuff needs to be green, but the rest has to stay blue. And you're going to wish that you didn't just have a global that said blue or green. You're going to wish. And the way that's done is with theme extensions, or excuse me, with themes in general, is that you can say for this tree now, the default colors are greenish rather than bluish. And that is a godsend. So theming is complicated. It's hierarchical. There are videos on it. There have been a lot of changes to it over the years. So make sure the video or document that you're looking at is less than a year old.
This is some great stuff on the theme extension page, and it links to how it all works. But yeah, I mean, again, this is a way that you can customize themes to your own liking. But really, a theme extension is you're just fetching a state, right? You're just fetching state for your application. Here's a list of colors that I can use. Here's a list of variables. What the theme extension does do is it integrates animating between themes. So that's why they've got the lerping in there and some of the other bits. But basically, the idea being that when you switch your theme, like going from dark or light mode, it will nicely transition between the two rather than just instantly switch. And that's the benefit you get from using theme extensions.
The short version of what themes are doing is that they're basically inherited widgets. So what happens is, like, you've got a text field and it wants to put text and it wants to know what the font and what the color is. It just ripples upward until it finds a theme that has that information in it. So that's why it affects its tree below it when you add any one of these things. What theme extension does is it makes those things wider so that they can have not only all the built-in properties, of which there's about 60 or so, but also any other property that you want to find in that same sort of way of going up the tree until you find the common thing for this section of your app. So very powerful stuff. Pretty cool. And like I said, though, it has evolved over time, especially going from material 2 to material 3. It got really crazy. So you'll just have to read through stuff and don't look at anything that's too old, because you will be in pain trying to adopt old things on the new architectures. So
And the other thing I say about theming, the other thing
Yeah.
that we always say about theming that I think also gets missed is that if you're trying to build out widgets, don't just go, I'm going to use an elevated button and start trying to like customize the material thing, like to get rid of the padding, do this, add 50 parameters to your widget to make it do what you want to do. Just go make a widget. Go use like Inkwell, go use gesture detector. Just make a little stateful widget called button that does the thing you want it to do. Don't think you have to be pressured into just using the material design widgets, right? They are designed to be matching the design schema of materials. If you're not just using material design as a whole principle design technique for your app, then you probably want to start thinking about customizing a lot of your buttons. If you, as soon as you feel that you're fighting existing widgets, you're doing it wrong, right? You need to go think about how you can reapproach what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Right. All right. What's next?
Oh, look. All right. Great ideas and explanation. Yay. We got a thumbs up from the OP, as they say in the online world. Let's go to this. This is more of an answer I asked a long time ago. You asked an answer? That's an odd one. About a problem with cached network image. Turns out that I was using JSON repository instead of SQLite, which seemed to be the default for mobile.
Okay.
Is there a question in there? Is there an answer in there to a question that we handled a long time ago that I've completely forgotten about now? Possible.
I have no idea. Let's move on.
Move on.
Yeah. Great. You found your problem. You solved your problem.
You solved your problem. Yes. Thank you for sharing. All right. Need a bottom sheet modal route for both Android and iOS adaptive. Will it use the auto route routing? Also, how to dynamically resize the bottom sheet height. Do we get this question, every 3 weeks?
This just tells you that, but this just tells you that the existing widgets that do this are not up to scratch for what people are using it for. Right. Yeah. Cherie, just go check out the gists and the previous shows, because I could 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know, like we did this.
It's
frequent. Go check out my gists and just go through the list. You'll find it. Bottom sheet. Oh, should I do it now?
It's always wonderful watching you place the widget, pass down the constraints, get the max constraint, calculate that across all the bar things. I mean, I've seen it so often now, I could probably do it in my sleep. So it's obviously been done more than once here on this show.
Sheets. Animated. It was like bottom sheet. What's this? Modal bottom sheet with inputs. Overlap. I don't even know if that was the one. When was that? 9 months ago, wasn't that one?
We've done many variations on it.
I was going to say we did so many of these. Yeah, you're going to have to go look through. I know it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, no, that's definitely not it.
Can you put a link to just your gists in general? I can't remember if you
can. I can. There you go. For anyone that wants it.
Yep. All of your public snippets that you've made on this show.
It's right there.
There you go. There you go.
All the magic. That's where you find all the magic.
And what does it cost? Totally free. Totally free. You can send Patreon money if you want, but this is totally free. So, yeah.
I'm curious, Lati. I think I kind of remember this, that the cache was getting overwritten, or you couldn't figure out how to like clear the cache or something. I said using a timestamp because this was added to the URL to uniquely like essentially cache bust your URLs. I think I remember this now. Yeah, if you're gonna, I would kind of curious, did that solve it? But equally, you're saying that it was the repository that was failing. So yeah, maybe there's a bug there that needs to be resolved. So maybe maybe fix it and push a fix back for other people. Yeah.
There you go. And there was a question earlier in the chat. Is there from MA? Is there time for space for more questions? Yeah, we keep taking questions until we cut you off, and so far we're still taking questions in. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We're not to the cutoff yet. We're not even close actually. But sure. Now I scroll back here. Okay. Oh. No, did that one. This one is new. This one's a two-parter. I have an async value provider. Oh, guess what? This is right in the river pod.
All yours, Randall.
Oh, mine. It's screen A. I'm on screen 4. Not related to A. Is it a different dimension? What screen 4 is compared to screen A. And from there, I want to refresh the provider of screen A. What that means is that you've turned a declarative system into an imperative system. The moment you ask that question, you're forcing data down the throats of providers. A provider should always be set up so that it knows when it needs to be rebuilt. And that means you need the dependencies in there. You need to have the things it's depending on be observable. And the easiest way to do that is, if you're already in a provider, a Riverpod provider, is to add a ref watch or a ref listen to the data that goes in. Then when the data changes over there on screen 4, boom, screen A goes, hey, I got to rebuild too because I depended on that data. Get your dependencies right and you won't be asking questions like this. So the moment you're trying to make one thing force down the throat of something else, let that be a light bulb for you that says, wait, nope, there's a better way. It must mean I have one of my dependencies in the wrong, awkward way. Let's see what the second half of the question is, see if that answers that. When I have states not updated because the 4 screens exposed, do I need to keep alive true? Well, in screen A, going back to the question here, in screen A, yeah, that should probably be keep alive, unless it can be computed from scratch quickly. And it has no state. If it's only dependent on its inputs that are generated or observed in build, then you don't need it to be keep alive. But I imagine if this is a primary screen that you're going to come back to frequently, you're going to want everything on there to be keep alive, just because no point in recomputing those values, as long as all those dependencies are correct. If the dependencies are correct, the thing will rebuild as needed. Any input on that, Simon?
No, I was just setting things up for coding, so
you weren't even listening. Lovely.
Listening.
Here I am giving a brilliant answer, a Riverpod answer,
and it was so wasted on me, Randall. It was so wasted.
In fairness, I'm ignoring you sometimes when I'm looking at questions. So okay, it's you're just evening that out.
Yeah, I see. Get your own back.
Levels of ignoring each other. All right, let's go back on to the next thing here. Where's the next thing? The next thing is this. Sometimes the view insets bottom has value 0 even when the keyboard is opened. Why?
So that is because something above you something above that widget, the context that you're trying to get from, has overridden it. So you can do media query.remove padding, right? Remove insets. They are things. So something above has removed it because it's already applying it. So that's why. Look at your layout. You've got some widget, something is removing it.
Is there a quick way to find that?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So I just trace up the widgets normally. Like it's not that many, you have to go through.
Sure. All right.
Scaffold is one of those ones. So if scaffold has a parameter like remove bottom padding false, because by default it does, because it applies it to the widgets, I think.
Okay.
I forget. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. little more complicated here. I'm getting uploading symbol failed issue in Xcode 16, Flutter version 3.13. Is that correct?
Upgrade your Flutter version.
Ah, yeah, that's what it's
Xcode
324 or something
16,
now.
yeah, 3.13 is we're on 3.24. Yeah.
Yeah.
3.13 is quite
So,
old now. So
yeah.
I'd say without upgrading the version, downgrade to Xcode 15.
You go.
15.6.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck on getting that in the store.
You
Yeah.
can actually you can actually do it. You can go to Xcode host a website where you can download them.
No, I mean, good luck submitting that to the store.
Oh, you can do that. Yeah, no, you can still build with Xcode 15. Yeah.
They have cutoffs though for
no, not Xcode version. The Xcode product.
And actually, it is working in Xcode. Yeah, it is working in Xcode 15. So there, we just
the other
answered.
other thing you could try and do, just off the top of my head here, would be to, again, we said this before, maybe do something like upgrade to the latest Flutter version, delete your iOS folder, run Flutter create dot, let it recreate the iOS directory, then downgrade your Flutter version back, and see if the iOS directory now is compatible with Xcode 16. But honestly, you're in the land of native. You're trying to deal with the native platform stuff, and you're going to have to work your way through whatever changes are required to make it work. And that's reading up about Xcode and whatever else. But yeah, I would just suggest that you try and upgrade to the latest version and to see if it becomes compatible, because then you kind of know where you sit, that it's a Flutter related issue or it's a project files related issue, or if it's a configuration issue with a build issue or whatever, right?
Right. Cool. Moving on. Let's see here. This one, I've got an interesting part of the answer for it. So there are often in Discord and Stack Overflow and stuff, people asking layout questions to make things that look like pretty trees of stuff. I'm going to give you a magic keyword that you can look in Pub, and I don't know why it works, but in the Unix world, there's this technology called GraphViz, GRAPHVIZ. And it's a suite of tools. It's Dot and Nito and a bunch of other stuff. And it's basically about doing diagrams that ultimately translate to PostScript or SVG that are very nice arrows drawn with smooth curves and stuff like that. Anyway, there's a bunch of packages that relate. If you look for GraphViz in Pub, a bunch of packages related to the actual GraphViz package. But there are also a bunch of packages that do what GraphViz does natively in Dart code. And I think one of those is a wonderful tree view.
I think this is slightly a different question. Let me suggest something here. Hang on, if I can find it. A tree view from the Windows world is this type of widget, right? So like a folder list, right? Is this what you're trying to, Aaron? Is this what you're trying to do? Because if you're trying to do this kind of like a widget that is indented in that you can expand and collapse, that's in the official two-dimensional scrollables package. They've got a tree view widget, and that does exactly this. And it's infinite scrollable, handles large lists, all that good stuff.
Okay.
So
two answers for one
you've got
question.
two answers. Yeah, he says. Yeah, and there's even other people two-dimensional scrollable. Yeah, so go grab that package. But yeah, when Randall was talking about is like, yeah, if you're trying to do like graph visualizations, there's great packages already on Pub to do that.
Yeah, and for some reason, GraphViz, even though they don't mention GraphViz, comes up. So there must be some aliasing going on in the search operations, because I'm definitely seeing a lot more packages than actually deal with GraphViz. Anyway, moving on. Where's the button for that? There's that button. I can turn this star off and pull this out. I am trying to put a bunch of data tables into a single child scrollable. Wait, data tables already scrollable, right?
No, they're not. No.
Oh, okay. And column. And I need to know the exact height of the data table. I can't find a solution for that. What do you think, sir?
Wrap it in intrinsic height.
Wrap it in what?
Intrinsic height.
Oh, okay. So
I'm
that
not
would be
sure.
it.
I mean, are you saying that you're getting an error by putting a data table inside a single child scrollable and in a column inside that train of thought? They could get a layout, that didn't work, it says. Well, we can definitely
Well,
look at that. Leave that in the list, and we'll see
okay,
if we can have a play around with that. But yeah, interesting.
sure. All right, here's a block question. I'm not much of a block guy, so let's see how much I can answer about it. Better strategy to have all the block providers at the top of my widget tree in a multi-block provider. Just use the block providers on the pages that need the particular block. Yes, it could be either one of those.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, it
said, is
depends on
it
what you
better?
want to do. It's
Yeah,
scope.
so,
It's
yeah.
all about
So the
scope.
point, the reason why you have block at the page level is because the state when you leave that page needs to go away. You don't want to keep it anymore. That's
Yeah.
why you would do that. If you've got global state throughout your application or app state, then it probably wants to be in a multi-block provider at the top level. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
That's it.
We
There's your answer.
hardly ever have decisions like that with RiverPod, but that's okay. So it's nice. Moving on. What? Here it is. What Flutter app architecture? Why do we get these questions every week? Do you recommend for a large application needs to integrate AI models and APIs? Probably like any other large application. Probably. Do you recommend using RiverPod for state management every time? Yes, it's such an app. Yeah, of course I recommend RiverPod because it's this universal Lego set of being able to have dependent and observable global data. I mean, it's pretty universal for that. I should say global restricted data. It's just to not freak out the people that think all globals are bad, because not all globals are evil. Some globals have controlled access, and RiverPod definitely qualifies for that. Architecture, though. Some people just mean, how do I name my files? And some people actually mean, am I using MVVM or MVC, or does it have to have the word clean in it just to keep Uncle, whatever his name is, happy? Uncle Stu,
Yeah, Uncle Bob.
Uncle Ben, Uncle Bob. There it is. I couldn't remember his name. I don't worship at that altar, so it's not a problem for me. I have actually said, though, just to tie this to something I talked about this week on, I believe it was LinkedIn. When people say they're using MVVM with Flutter, I tend to push back because that's an architecture that was invented when you didn't have everything Flutter has in it in terms of being able to directly observe source of truth models. So because we have things like value listenable and more deeper things like RiverPod and provider and block, we can observe source of truth, not have to have a source of truth that then has an intermediate representation somewhere that is all wired up for change notifications. And so that helps quite a bit. So in that sense, I lean more towards just calling it MVC, just to keep the three parts in my head, that this is model, I can do unit tests with it, and it shouldn't do any IO at all. This is view, which means it's going to get its values from somewhere that's observable, and the controllers that wire the two together. For me, I'm always doing a VC. Sorry.
You can also add a presentation layer in there and have even view models and I mean, once you know the patterns, it's all kind of
yeah.
I think the answer to this question is always whatever works for you. I mean, honestly, like, I know it sounds silly, but you've got like a large application that needs to integrate AI models and APIs. AI models and APIs that you just throw that out. Who cares? That's neither here nor there. Like, you can call it any API. You can API model, doesn't matter. Like, that's not going to change the way you deal with an architecture of an application. Do you recommend using RiverPod for state management? Well, use any state management, but RiverPod, sure, it's the go-to right now. Yeah.
And I could do my standard state management talk, which is, as long as the technology you're using has the way to make data locatable, observable, and get the current value, and as bonuses, easy to replace during testing, your state management system is complete enough to be able to build large applications, because that's the key things that state management is providing that just having a simple global somewhere does not do.
Yep.
So easy stuff that way. Anyway, moving on. I really like using Sliver app. I almost said Silver. I keep that word just keeps popping sideways in my head for some reason, because the L and the I are really close to each other. But when I use Sliver fill remaining, it takes additional unnecessary scrolling on the page. It's a way to get a Sliver app bar without using slivers.
It wouldn't be a Sliver app bar. It would just be an app bar. Well, I mean, something else is going wrong there. Yeah. Are you sure? I think this is because so when you make a Sliver app bar, you've got things like float and pin and a few other things. If you've not got float set to true, it may go underneath, but it's going to take up space on the screen, right? So that when it goes off the screen, it comes back on the screen, it's going to not take up the remaining space. It shouldn't do that. I mean, we can definitely leave it to one side. I'm kind of curious, but yeah, you shouldn't get that by default. We could definitely test that in a second.
Yeah,
can leave it to one side. Let me make some notes here.
All right. I'll leave that there. Moving on. We have, I'm using network image and a decorated image of the container. How to show error image placeholder when I'm using network image. Isn't that like one of the properties of a network image is the error image?
Training network image in a decorated image of the container. How to show an error image placeholder when you can't. There you go.
You can't?
It's the widget that shows the error placeholder, not the image loader, right? So the network image is just a provider, right? A decorated image is just something that as a painter that paints from a provider. If you need to do a custom, you can wrap the provider and do a custom returned image that is like red if you wanted to. Honestly, I would just say so decorated image. If you go look at how decorated image actually works, you can actually make your own decoration. So let me
Jim suggesting error builder. Is that going to help, or is that the widget? Okay.
No. Let's have a look. Let's double check this, right?
Sure.
Why not? This is why we're here. I'm going
doesn't
to say
cost doesn't cost anything to look up in the API documentation. It does not cost 1 cent.
Let's see if we can get
it is free, totally free to look things up in the API.
Right. So where were we? We were saying it was
image
decorated image. Decorated image.
Decorated image.
Well, you got decorated box, right?
Which probably is the image of a decorated box. Is there an image background for the decorated box?
Yeah, hang on. Is it going to load? Why is it?
It hates you.
This JavaScript is just shit.
Yep.
Really? I mean, apparently it's loading.
Crashed? I don't know. Your browser crashed?
No, it's just.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Right. So yeah, shape decoration, box decoration. There is base decoration. Where's the base class? Oh, that's it. Decoration image, not decorated image. Everyone gets that wrong. Yeah. So what I want to show you here. So basically, oops. So a decorated box takes a decoration as its parameter, right? That decoration is a base type. This is it here, the decoration class. And you have box decoration, Flutter logo decoration, shape decoration, underline tab indicator. These are all decorations that you can apply. However, you can just extend this class and paint whatever the hell you want. So if you're trying to actually like decorate a widget, this is a great way of custom painting something or giving it custom borders or custom backgrounds or behaviors. So if you go look at decorated image, what this does is you pass it an image provider, and then it will then go ahead and paint that. Oh, look, it has an image error listener. But the thing is, this is just tells you an error occurred. It doesn't give you like a way of displaying the error, right? I would just go copy this. Let's go to the decoration image. Let's go take a look at the source code. Source code. Right, here you go. So if we go down, you'll see this is the decoration. You can pretend that all the comments don't exist. So it's this calls create painter. That's literally the entire thing of what a decoration is. It has parameters you call create painter. And then that will pass it on to the actual painter, which I'm hopefully going to grab, which is an implementation somewhere in here. There you go. Implement decorated image painter. And if we go into here, when it paints, so a quick look, implement, so it is an implementation. So when it paints, when it goes and says, do I have an image? Resolve the image from the stream. If I've got an image, listen to that stream, resolve it, add a listener, and then that listener is going to get the save the stream, add a listener, and if we don't already have a key that matches. If we don't have an image, return. Otherwise, we have an image, so we're going to clip it and paint that image. That's it. That is the magic, right? So you could copy this, and inside here, see we got the on error. You could set up an error state inside this class, which is stateful, and then in here say, oh, if between these two lines here, if error, then paint this to the canvas like a red box or whatever you want to paint, right?
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as widgets. That's because you're doing a decorated image, right? If you wanted the same thing, then you can just make a little custom stateful widget that that just loads the image, and if it fails to load the image, you get the callback to say it failed, change the widgets that you're loading. That's it. It's the same thing at a different level, right? No, yeah, cool. That's that.
All right, moving on. Let's push the buttons, Randall. Okay, that's the one that's selected. Here's a fun one. 3D, one of your favorite things. In Flutter, how do we effectively render 3D models given the current engine's limitations? When can we expect Flutter to achieve native level performance for 3D rendering? First off,
is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? It says how can effectively 3D model? Yeah, it's Flutter GPU, right? It's already a thing. It's being worked on right now. When can you expect it? Well, you can try it right now. It's an early
download it,
experimental, and you know what? Whenever it's finished.
Yep. Right. Where I was going to go with this is, first off, neither of us work for Google.
I was about to say that.
We're just fans. well, I have a slightly closer relationship with Google than maybe Simon does because I'm a Google developer expert. So I'm under an NDA and a bunch of other stuff. So
am I. I'm under a few actually.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, then we're both zip-lipped about some things, but yeah, it's but we don't work for Google, and we don't have access to their schedules or internal conversations or anything like that. It's whatever they choose to tell us, and that's only slightly more than they tell you. So,
if you look at the announcements of the last official stable, they actually talked about Flutter GPU and how you can try it out for yourself.
Yep.
Go try it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, I'm not sure what to do with, but I'm just going to pop it up there, and then we can talk about what that means. There is a Flutter bounty hosted by Filled Stacks, and you might want to give it a try. I wonder if he's talking about that we do live coding to solve the Flutter bounty.
No, what is Filled Stacks bounty?
I don't know what the URL. I don't know. I don't even know how.
Bounty for some startup logic. Startup bounty?
Oh, we know a startup
collected.
stuff.
Oh, collected. Collected, it says there. So they must have like several bounties of how to do stuff, and then like.
Oh, I don't know. I should probably research this and have it knowledge for next week's show, but
send us info.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't paste URLs in the chat room. Remember that. We cannot paste URLs there. Only we can paste URLs, and that's because we have bigger hammers. Anyway, so we'll just move on from that. Here. block again. Oh, sorry, Simon, you wanted
Oh,
to
so
talk
so
about block?
so so yeah, I see. So there's things like this, look, like
Oh,
markdown fade bounty. $150 bounty for ticket stacker to create a fade in markdown renderer.
wow. But is that in
Okay.
Flutter? It's a Flutter
Yeah,
thing? It must be a Flutter
yeah.
thing. Wow. Okay.
And they've got a bunch of these. They have lots of
Well,
like little bounties, and you can. So someone's
have
picked up
fun.
widget tree bounty. Maybe this is the one that was. Yeah, he's put markdown fade bounty.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. All right. Moving on then. Oh, I already clicked it. With the block pattern, again, I'm not a block expert. What's the best way of providing different error states to multiple widgets on the same page? The block state only gives the state of the page. Maybe I misunderstand though. I think this is a common problem to both RiverPod and block, is that there's really the notion of one rolled up error in any given provider. So you have to figure out ways of having either out of band communication for the rest of the error message or a more complex error object that has multiple parts or something like that. I don't have a clean solution for this yet. I've only just had ad hoc solutions and I've not been happy with any of them. Simon, do you have any experience with
Um,
wrapping up errors, multiple errors for a given page?
I mean, he's saying like, what's the best way of preventing different error states to multiple widgets on the same page? You can make a block per widget, right, and have its own state, or just have multiple value fields that denote the errors in the block
Yeah.
state. Block
Yeah.
state does not have to. So you have to remember, block state is not all error or all this or all that. It's just the new state of the content. They have multiple fields that indicate what you want to do, right? That's it.
And yeah, okay. Also, be sure you put Q colon in front of your questions. I'm starting to see things that don't have Q colon. Do you have the graphic for that there?
It's at the bottom of the screen.
Is it? Oh, we're all at the bottom. Oh, I see. It's right where I keep ignoring it because it's so far down there and it's constantly there. Yes. Please do not ignore the fancy letters that are scrolling by on the marquee at the bottom of the screen. Put Q colon in front of it, then we know it is for us and not just you talking amongst each other. Youssef, I'm specifically looking at you at this point. I will actually mark that as a question because it looks like a question, but be sure that you put Q colon in front of them in the future. Okay. Next question. How can I create a picture-in-picture floating window feature for iOS that works in the background? This is a similar problem to
I
the
mean,
having.
it becomes the same thing, right? Research on iOS, how you do picture in picture, if it supports it, how you do it. Then you make a plugin for Flutter that does that, and you win,
Yeah. Okay.
right? There you
We
go.
Yeah, we should also say that get your questions in now because
Yep.
the queue is rather short. If you get your question in right
Well,
now, you'll probably hear the answer in about 10 minutes, somewhere right
we're
in
going to
there.
actually jump into some. We'll jump into some live coding as well, so we don't waste
Yeah,
like.
eventually. I like this though. This may take us 20 minutes just on its own. What are the limitations of Flutter?
Okay, sorry. Before I jump onto something else, there is a picture-in-picture Flutter package on Pub, which does apparently works on iOS and Android. Haven't tried it, so if it works on, that just sounds to me like you could just use the package, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, try it out, I guess.
Cool. All right. So, limitations of Flutter. Hmm. Well, it only runs where Google has written it to run.
Well,
That's everywhere, pretty much.
I was going to say you say that, but then it is running in other places Google haven't because people are making custom embedders and custom embedded platforms and everything
Mm-hmm.
else. So that's not limitation as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So, any other So, probably along what dimension did you mean this question? Because there are lots of different ways to answer this.
I think it's just like a discussion point. I mean,
Yeah,
the end of the day, right? Like you can there's certain things you just don't do in high level languages, right? That you choose a different language to do it in, right? But
right.
that's not again, it's not what you use Flutter to build. It's like I'm not going to build an image processing, um, a fast image codec and processing or compression algorithm in Flutter, right?
Right.
Why would I do that? I might build the UI to interface with that with such a system in Flutter, right? So yeah. Um, okay, next question, I guess.
Yeah, move on. How
Oh,
can I
okay.
optimize?
Before we jump onto that, we got the point saying no pub
Oops,
package,
sorry.
no pub package on iOS.
Mhm.
Try them all. So it's probably because it doesn't support the latest version of iOS. So what you can do, Yusuf, is fork the package. So you fork the repo on GitHub. Then you can edit the plugin. There's guides on flutter.dev in the documentation about how to write plugins, how you develop them, and modify the plugin so it supports the latest version of iOS. There you go. Jim came up with a great answer. Flutter can't make him a coffee. Yeah, that's so true. There's the
Yeah,
problem. There's the biggest bug and problem inside of Flutter. It doesn't make coffee. However, you
but
can do an interface to a coffee machine. Right.
and you can post something on your YouTube channel that has people buy you a coffee.
I'm so
So,
tempted. I'm so tempted right now. I have this idea of doing like a little custom coffee machine that has like a
yep.
touch screen that's running a Flutter app and be like, yeah, Flutter now makes coffee for me.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny in your copious spare time, sir. Yes.
I know, right?
Hopefully,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
These are
And
the
if
things I want to do if I had spare time right now.
yes, right. Okay.
That'd be fun.
So let's go back to the. Why are there two copies of this? This is weird. But how can I optimize tree shaking for better performance? And how do I handle assets that vary between platforms, such as images that differ between web and mobile? I think that's where you go into the monorepo
Um,
and consume
so
your
this is
core.
a known problem. So first of all, let's just so optimize tree shaking. So tree shaking is about code, right? That's not necessarily about removing assets. So these are two separate things. So just be clear, tree shaking is about how Dart removes code that's not being used. So push it to one side. What you're asking for is how do I remove assets that are not being used between platforms? So when you ship web, you don't include the mobile assets. When you ship mobile, you don't include the web assets. And the answer is two separate packages. So what you actually want to do is you make two separate Flutter projects, right? One for web, one for mobile, with their set of assets, and you take your existing package, you make your existing project a package that both import. Now you can have assets for the individual ones in both, and in your startup, your main entry point, it just runs the main entry point of the other, but maybe with the right parameter for what it's starting up with. If the code doesn't access that asset that's missing, it's not going to have an error. So now you've just got a deployment that runs on web and one on mobile. But this is the difference, right, between doing it. At the moment, that's always been the way of doing it. They are actually addressing this issue, and I'm not sure where they got to doing that recently. But there has been a recent push in the tooling to add flavored support for assets and things like that so that you can actually only include certain assets for certain flavors.
Building an app
Yeah.
that targets all platforms. Want to reduce the app size for mobile. Yeah.
Yeah. So just bring mobile out into its own package, essentially. So all you're doing is you're basically making a folder with a pub spec YAML, right, with your sort of top level, and that's just importing the other package from the local path import, right? And that way, the assets that compiled are going to be the ones inside that project and not the ones inside the original. So you can basically split them out.
I will. Yeah, cool. I will say we're at the top of the hour. We've got 6 things to look at, and
And we're going
so
to
I
do some
think I'm
live
gonna
coding.
and want to do some live coding. So let's cut off the questions. I'll give you 5 more minutes, then we'll let the big hammer come down. Just to hurry quickly if you're going to get a question in, but we're getting close to what we can handle. in our couple of hours that were set aside today. Let's see. Let's go with this one here. Native Splash removes sometimes shows black screen. You think it's due to 2 run app usage for initialization? So you're going to blame this on me because I've been a big advocate for run app twice.
It could
yeah,
be. So run app twice is not necessarily the expected usage of it. I don't know. I would I always advocate for just create a widget as soon as possible. I used to actually advocate for using the native splashes. You both work, right? You can hold the native splash screen using renderer binding has like a defer. What's it called? Defer screen or something. Defer first frame. If you've not heard of this, I'll bring this up. If I could share. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so renderer binding defer first frame. And then once you've done that, you do allow first frame. And this allows you to do, it says here, perform asynchronous work before the first frame is rendered, which takes down the splash screen. I talked about this in my FlutterCon 2023 talk. So, oops, sorry. So go check that out. It's all documents on there. It shows you how to do it. Yeah, it could be. It could be that what's happening is, again, I don't know, it depends on the operating system. You haven't mentioned, Sheree, like which Android, iOS you're experiencing this on, but it could be that the operating system is trying to render and it can't, so it's getting a blank screen.
Yep.
Maybe you're holding. The other thing is maybe you're holding the Dart thread. If you're holding the Dart thread busy too much, you can't render, which means you might get a black screen as well if it's not rendered the screen beforehand. So there might be something like that going on as well.
Okay. Cool. All right. Next thing, getting close to the end, actually. When starting a small project with state management, is provider enough for managing state? If it's small enough, you can even just get away with like a change notifier and value listenable builder and stuff. I mean, you don't have to even go to provider necessarily, or you could use inherited widgets or whatever.
There's also the built-in app state stuff.
Yeah,
I've never bothered using.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And as the app goes more complex, it's better to start with RiverPod instead of provider to manage shape. First off, I just want to keep saying what Remy keeps saying about provider and RiverPod, which is provider, it's in mothballs. It's basically not going to get any new updates. It doesn't mean there's anything broken. It just means there's nothing to fix. It's just stuck wherever it's going to be for eternity. It's basically a done product. RiverPod's where all the cool stuff's happening. And Remy, the guy who wrote both, says don't even start with provider, start with RiverPod. But that's Remy, and Remy's proud of his new work in RiverPod, and he rightfully so because it's great stuff and has like probably 5 to 10 times the capability of what provider does, and does a few things simpler than provider.
I think conceptually, because it's so different, it's a lot harder for people to understand and pick up. I would really like to see provider just adjusted so that it has more of like a scope widget at the top level, like you have with RiverPod, that then manages all the state outside of the widget tree, thus solving the widget tree issues that way and basically providing a little escape from. Yeah. Anyway.
Right. Well, RiverPod does the provider container thing, which means that it can work totally in a Dart environment without even touching the.
But I'm saying that'd be nice if provider was updated to do that, and then you had the option, a more modernized option of doing both. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, and provider is so buried on inherited widget that it would be nearly impossible probably to unwind all that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
so that's just now we're like Waldorf and Statler and Muppet Show, right? Let's take this. Anyway, where am I at? Yeah. Anyway, so I personally start with RiverPod fairly early on. If I have any kind of observable data, I just drop RiverPod in because the minimum setup is 3 things. You got to have the provider scope, You got to have a consumer widget, and you've got to have a provider. And it's only those three things are at the absolute minimum core of having RiverPod installed. It's pretty simple. Anyway, so there we go. Moving on. How about this one here? About Flutter Web SEO. How often do we get this question? Considering factors like indexing, crawling, ranking, what is primarily a bubble first platform? Oh, what can we say that hasn't been said in
what
pretty
is the
much?
question?
Yeah, is there a question about
when it's primary? Yeah, but again, like it has there's no question I can
mobile
see
first?
there. Can I read that?
I think the
There's a question
Flutter
mark,
there is the mobile first.
So, what you want to talk about?
Same answer. Yeah, same answer as the last 4 years we've been doing this show. Just go back and watch any of the previous ones where people have asked, how do I get SEO better with my Flutter Web? Flutter Web is meant for applications, not for websites. You want a website, use Jasper, Jaspr. That's Dart compiling to JavaScript, very quick to load up, very quick to use, feels Flutter-like because of the components that are built into it, has server-side rendering. Everything you want is in Jasper. Jasper is amazingly along ways along the path there. So definitely check that out. Jasper is definitely best of breed in this area. I think, is that the last question and we can start doing live coding? Wait, I see something else in this list. This guy. In my above RiverPod, I'm using RiverPod generator. Could you share code with a simple app? I would say riverpod.dev has some really great examples. And what's funny is people either don't know about that site or they looked at the site 3 years ago and hated it. And I agree, it was not very good 3 years ago or 2 years ago. It has come a long ways since then. I think this is part of what's letting me sell RiverPod a little bit more often. It's
you
just
also
that the
don't need
web
to use the generator, right?
You don't have to use a generator until you
It's a
start getting
switch.
into.
He says it's like a simple app, right? So you don't have to use the generator with a simple app. And in fact, at the top corner of the documentation, there's a little switch, as Randall showed me the other day. If you switch it switches to the non-generated examples. Right. So you can see what it's like just to use RiverPod without the generator, which does definitely simplify the whole process of using RiverPod.
Yeah. And by the way, we're cut off on questions. I'll take one last one. Well, let's say it's two last ones, I guess. Let me flag those so I can get to those again. For installation, the first run app shows a loader. Second run app shows a new provider container with all things initialized. Oh, this was just a follow-up to the fact that we were talking about using run app twice.
Yeah, but you can also do that from a widget, right? Yeah. So you just switch just do a set state and switch the widgets that you're returning. You've done the same thing.
And in fact, Remy is now promoting that for warming up RiverPod providers rather than my way of doing it with run app twice. I definitely can support that. Andrea, who's been doing most of the third-party documentation for RiverPod, huge amounts of stuff, also is arguing for a warm-up widget that is basically called from your run app that basically has ref watches on everything you want to make sure is alive all of your app. And it's a perfectly fine strategy. I illustrated it in one of my 5 YouTube videos where I talk about alternate ways of getting RiverPod warmed up at the beginning of your app. So you can definitely check out my version of it as well. I'll put my YouTube link in the chat. And that's enough on that. So let's go on to the very last question. Okay, no more questions after this. We'll put you off for 166 hours.
We can have a question around the live coding stuff. If there's questions around live coding.
Yeah, we'll do the live coding stuff. But I want to do, this is the last query Q&A question. Will it be annoying to drop the golden toolkit now that it's deprecated and use the newer bundled version? I don't even know what this is.
I mean, anything's annoying if you have to rewrite a bunch of code. It can be annoying, right? Normally, it's probably worth just rewriting something from scratch, and then as you rewrite it, seeing how you can link it to your old existing stuff. But yeah, have fun.
Okay.
Alex. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hide that. And we'll go back to there's three things that we
So
were
it was a
looking at.
transparency one actually, but
That's the first one here.
Yeah.
Is that the
So
one you want to tackle?
let's have a go with that one first of all, and we'll hide the question for now. But
Okay.
yeah, the point is, how do you get a transparent Flutter app, right? So let's get rid of that branding. Yeah, so I just create a fresh little app called Transparent App, and we can run this up. It's just going to run. It's just a counter, right? I've just updated the Gradle dependency stuff, but it's just a counter app. I'm going to open up the Android side of it in sync in Android Studio, and once that's once that's synced, then we can hopefully fiddle around with this. Get there. I've got a new version of Gradle, so give it a second. So there's a page inside the documentation called Java Doc, which most people don't realize exists, and there's also I think it's called iOS Doc now. I forget iOS dash embedder. That's the one. So if you're actually looking for documentation on the native side of the integration with Android iOS, these are the two pages that you probably don't know about. So I'll put these in here.
Secret pages.
Inside the Java Doc stuff, this is Java Doc, but this is just like Java Doc is a general way of generating documentation around Java classes. It's all compatible with Kotlin, so don't worry about that. But anyway, inside the Flutter embedder, when you actually set up your your project, you'll see here that we're actually using Flutter activity. So if we go look up Flutter activity in here, I think it's this one. Let's have a look. That is not very helpful. Yeah. IO Flutter embedding Android. IO Flutter embedding Android. And then here is Flutter activity. So activity which displays Flutter full screen Flutter UI. I do. So part and parcel of displaying content is that you can actually display it transparently, and it says here renders activity transparently if desired. So we're going to have a quick look at how we do that, because I think it might have changed, but we'll see. Transparency mode. Get transparency mode. Oh, look at that. That sounds like exactly what we want. And also get rendering mode. So rendering mode enables us to give it what type of rendering in its system we want to use on Android. Some of these are better than others, and I think we have to change it to texture to get transparency, and then transparency mode if we want it to render the background opaque or transparent. So sounds like a plan. So we should, in theory, be able to override get transparency mode and return back sorry, it's a bit small. Hang on. Can I zoom it? I can't zoom it because I haven't configured this damn thing. Hang on. Mouse zoom somewhere. I swear there's like the one time I want change font size of mouse wheel and scroll in. That's what I want. There we go. So in the Flutter activity, this is obviously Kotlin. If you don't know, sorry. Translate mode transparent. So now we have it. It says it's transparent. All right. So now if we run this, we should have a transparent activity. We should have a transparent app. Yeah. So let's try it. So I'm running it from IntelliJ because that's where I'm editing the Dart code. But you could still run it from anywhere else. Well, it doesn't look very transparent to me. That's because we're painting everything, right? So let's update this. So first of all, by default, Material App is going to use a route, what's called a route builder. I think it's part of the theme actually. Saying that builder. route. The one time I want it, and then hey, scaffold background color, colors.transparent. Let's just see. Wow, yeah. So this is what I thought would happen. So now it's transparent in the background. It's black because by default black is rendered. If it's not a transparent route, it's like a default color. So there is a way of overriding this. So one thing we can do is a custom route. However, that's kind of annoying. There is actually a. I'm gonna go dig this out because it's going to bug me because I can't remember what it's called now. But when you specify your home widget, oh, so many references. So this is the Material app initialization. I'm just going to skim through this because I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. That'll do. And what was it? It was up here. Material page route builder. Yes. Page route builder is used. I will find it on generate route. I shall find it. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, that's how it works. And it's been a while since I've had a hunt through here for this. Okay, so when you go in, when it tries to go to a route, a screen, it's going to jump. It's going to get into this. The default function. You can override it, but this is the default. It checks to see if the settings, the name that you're trying to go to, matches the default or whatever else, and will take you to the home widget if you've got one, right? If you're not null. If you've got a page content builder, then it will try and use page route builder with that. Otherwise, you'll pass it on to the on generate route and pass that through. And if you don't get a route, then it will do the on unknown route, and that allows you to do like a 404 kind of like, you know, this screen or this route does not exist. What we actually want to do is actually page route builder. I think that's been overridden. Here we go. So page route builder being given to the base app layer. So Material app implements widget app and widgets app. Page route builder tries to do material page route. And this is the problem because this is always opaque. And I was hoping that we might get a way of overriding this. That's kind of annoying. I guess what we'll do instead is we'll override our on generate route. Let's do that. I think it's probably easier. So let's do that. So we get route settings. And we do the similar thing here. We'll get the name. If name is the default route, then we're going to return our own route. Otherwise, return null and it will perform the default action. Okay, and then inside here we can turn a. I'm just going to be really lame and do it in line, but there's other ways of pulling this out. In fact, I'll pull it out in a second. We'll get there. So this is what's going to be used to build the route. So was it my home page? Title, sure. Script that up. Right. So if it's default route, then we're going to jump in here. We're going to use the page builder, and then here we can set to not be opaque. Let's see what we do. Dun, dun, dun. Doesn't look any different to me. No, it doesn't look any different to me. So let's go back to here. Let's change our render mode. I think that might be the other side of this. That might be the problem. So we'll have to stop the app because now we're going to be changing the native code, right? And get render mode. Remember rightly, transparency only works when you're on texture. So we set that as well. Obviously, there'll be different ones for iOS. Whether or not you can do it with iOS is another question. I can't remember, but we'll try it on here. And you know what the other problem might be? Do you know what the other problem is? This is okay. This comes back to native code. I think we've actually didn't need this, but we'll come back to it in a second. The native is also doing something for us that we don't want, which is trying to again optimize for. Yeah. So officially, there is a. Oh, it won't suggest it. It's been a while. Let's go look. Transparent theme on Android. Theme.transparent. I know you can do this, but no. Can I be bothered? Can I be bothered? We're just gonna. Should we just copy these? Yeah, let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's just copy paste. So there is actually some base themes that are already transparent, and I can't remember the name of them. But you know what? I don't care. So anyway, no title bar. No title bar true. All right, so we don't need to worry about it. So theme.transparent. Let's don't grab that. This is basically just telling Android how to display the UI. Why do we need to modify
native code?
Because it's up to the operating system how it gets displayed, right? And we're saying we want it to display transparent, which is very unique to the operating system. So like this, window is translucent, true. We need to tell the operating system that it's true. The window background color it should paint with is transparent. There's no overlay content. There's no title bar. It's floating. It's background dim is not enabled. Whatever other flags that we want to add. You can go look these up. These are all documented, but we're just gonna skip past these right now and see, hopefully, that the change of the styles and the render mode. Yeah, see, we're not transparent again. Oh no, it's all going wrong. It's all going wrong. Why?
Obviously, we didn't rehearse this. It worked better in the dress rehearsal.
Yeah, okay. So look, let's have a look. On create view. Sorry, I'll make it bigger. So this is the inside code of the shell integration for the platform, right? On create view, when it's trying to create the view for the activity or fragment, it gets the render mode. If it's surface, it jumps into here. And apparently, Flutter Surface does have a transparency mode. If you do texture, does the texture view and then sets the opaque. I see no reason why this would not work. So let's get rid of anything that's a widget and see if that helps. So we're going to get rid of, let's just make a new widget. Tester, I don't know, whatever. And container, sure. Well, this is curiouser and curiouser. We can take this back a level as well. Let's try that. Let's put this back. I have an idea. Let's put this back. We're gonna get rid of material app altogether. Who needs material app?
Yeah.
I can't think of any other hints you need to tell the engine that it's transparent. I've done this before. So yeah, interesting. Either something's wrong here. We could try and track it down, but I'm not even sure I want to be bothered doing that right now. I don't want us just I mean, unless people want to, I don't think that there's worth spending all the time here just doing this. This is really annoying me. Let me do a clean build to make sure there's nothing hidden away. Why? Well, why? Wonder. No, the native themes are changed. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
What? Really?
Oh, why didn't anyone tell me that? Come on, people.
The letters are too small on my screen to be able to tell you.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, nobody's looking. Nobody's watching this show. Not right now.
No, basically the default is obviously to override with the black background once the splash screen goes away to optimize your app. And of course, let's just overrid the background.
Oh, nice.
Well, no, I mean it's still not working, so isn't that great?
Yeah, sorry, train of thought. I know you guys are there. I'm just trying to say that nobody's complaining about the tiny font, and I'm wondering if it's just because nobody cares. I mean, and if it's tiny on my screen, and I've got direct video feed to StreamYard Central.
Yeah. Hopefully, things are coming through clean.
Yeah,
Sorry if it's
okay.
too small.
Keep plowing forward. You're doing good. Might also be that on my 16-inch
This is
screen,
really
I
going to
can't get
start.
no
This is really annoying me now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. It's like there's nothing I can think of that would be causing a problem. I mean, I know it does do the switch, but I don't think the switch between the. I wonder if there's an additional. Let me have a quick look here. Normal theme. I wonder if
There's a follow-up to this here. How about a pop-up approach for the app size just around 20%?
Yeah, it's not about that. So an activity is going to fill the screen. That's just how Android works, right? And it's about what you render on that. Now you can change the window, and that is the size of the surface that the activity is on. But that's a whole nother thing I don't want to deal with right now. Let me just see if we can see what's going on. Configure window for transparency. Yes. Why you not do this? Background mode. Get background mode transparent. Wait. Is there another? Oh my God, really?
Where's the do what I mean operation? It's got to be in there somewhere.
Why do I have like? Why do we have three modes that do?
Enable the dormers. Enable the dormers.
Let's try that. So it looks like an additional get background mode is being used to indicate if it's transparent or not. Oh, look, if background mode is opaque, it uses surface. Otherwise, it uses a texture. If background mode is opaque, then it returns these. So you're meant to override background mode. The intent has extra get background. Has background mode. So by default, it will use the intent flag. But you could override that like what we're doing. I don't see how that would change how we're approaching this. Hang on. So this is suggesting that we can just do this, and that's good enough. And now overwrite in those two locations, but essentially that's what it's doing. And it's also been used configure window for. So it's the activities window. Sorry, it's a bit small. It's processed. I don't know.
Cool.
So it's activity window background to be transparent. Hides the status bar if the activity is desired. Background mode is set to transparent. For activity transparency to work as expected, the theme applied to this activity must include window is translucent true. Okay. Let's go check that. I'm pretty sure that's what we were just doing in the theme.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized what might be happening. Fuck's sake. Pardon me. There was a night. Okay, let me just if this is let me explain what I think I just noticed. There's just multiple things against me today. Right.
Mm.
Let's I think this is gonna solve it, but let me just check. And then hit stop. And when you run this and it's transparent, I'm just, it look like we're not running any app or it'd be an X across the screen. Let's have a look. Where? I'm very confused right now. Oh, no. That's correct. Sorry, I undid it. That's correct. So if you look at it on the left, it's really small. Sorry, let me see if I can change the appearance, font size. Has anyone figured out what's going wrong here? Because when I show you, you'll probably be like, oh, really? Hopefully the file's bad. So down here, styles night. See this? Guess what it is right now where I am. So by default, Android selects the resource files based on selectors. And this file is set to not be transparent. So if I delete this file, then no longer it's going to have a night-based theme. So when I run it, it wasn't even applying the transparent background to the window, and that's why it wasn't working. I think. Let's see if that's right. I have a feeling that's it. Yay! It's transparent finally. Fuck me, Jesus. Right. Okay. Back to where we were going to this. Right. So, okay. So first of all, theme. Theme needs to include one line. Window is translucent, and we've got some other beneficial things here. Right. Cool. And then the activity needs to include get background mode and return transparent. That's it. That's all the native code changes you need to do. Right. Now, when it comes to the widgets in the app, we go back to Material app here, which gives us benefits of some other things, and restart. Hey, look, we now have a transparent counter on top of my desktop. How about that?
Oh.
It's really small, but we need to do, was it theme data dark, or is it whatever it is? How do you do that, like dark? Brightness dark. When it flip it, it's just going to give me an error because color scheme brightness. Okay, so I need to put on the color scheme. Fine. Hey, look, we have an error on top of this. Right. I wonder if I can seed with a brightness, because that would be helpful. And look, it looks like I can. There we go. Now we have the counter people can see. So yeah, so if I hit that, our counter's changing. And if we back out, so that's me leaving the app and coming back into the app. Obviously, so that's it, because it did a hot reload. It's reloading from how I launched it, but yeah. So debug material background false. I'm kind of curious if I feel like the default for opaqueness on a route. See if that makes a difference. I believe it does. It doesn't. How about that? So it's just rendering what was behind. Is that what we're saying? It's interesting that it's cut off at the bottom there. Anyway, so let's get rid of wait, there's a column. Is it me, or is that like not reaching the edges of the screen? It's just weird. Should we see what's going on there? I feel like, do we need like a something weird going on? I'm kind of curious. I wonder if it's because of some of those native theme stuff we changed. Why is it not occupying the entire screen? Yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think it might be relating to some of the theme styles that we changed in here, like the content overlay. So no title, window is floating. Let's comment some of these out. And I don't know, see where we get to. So no title and translucent and background. I know definitely well. So the sorry, it's a bit small. So the window is translucent, and no title is what the default theme that we already had was applying. So we need to ensure we have that. The window background transparent is actually being applied and the before us, but it's nice to have that anyway. And the window translucent is what was being applied in the native code when you set the flag. So I have a feeling that maybe one of those other flags changed some of the insets and the way Flutter, the native Flutter stuff processes the insets for the screen because it's floating. Yeah, there you go. So it's no longer floating now. Let's move this up so we're not behind it. There you go. So cool. Now it reaches the edge of the screen. You don't need size box to expand. And effectively, we don't actually need. What we're saying is we don't actually need the builder. We don't need the page builder. Yay. So we get rid of tester. What do we want floating? Do we want to move something around the screen? What do we want? You want to do something?
Analog clock.
Analog clock. Oops.
Nah, but that would show that it's still active.
True.
If we had a second hand.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably. So I also set the scaffold background color to transparent so you can see through it because we're using a scaffold, but you probably wouldn't want to like fill the screen up, right? So we get rid of the app bar, transistor piece of material, and set that material to type? Yeah, type. Material type. Oops. Transparency. Now we just have the text on the screen.
Christian asked a question.
Would render repaint boundary to image also catch the background outside the app? No, it would not. Because officially, what you're seeing here is an image. Well, eventually, the app is rendering an image that has a transparent background. That's what the app sees. The composition of apps together, like when you show the recent apps, you'll see here. See, that's black. That's all being done by the operating system, right? So the composition of screens together is how the operating system behaves. No, it's not down to the app itself. But what we could do, so again, here's the thing. If I touch at the top of the screen here, or let's say these icons, I'm not touching the icons, right? I'm touching my app. It's just painting transparent, right?
So
that's the difference. you can actually change the window size, which means is the proportion of the screen that your app takes up. This is how chat heads work when you're on that. Is it Facebook chat? I don't use Facebook, but when you have like a chat bubble that moves around the screen. So that's all around the fact that you change the window dimensions, and those window dimensions dictate what portion of the screen is being taken up by your app. And then there's a permission you get on Android can render over other apps. You can enable that. And by enabling that, you then get like a chat head bubble or whatever you want that can be rendered on top of other apps. Your app, your thing that renders on top of other apps will be shut down when there's a secure window. It cannot render on top of a secure window. This is to stop apps from using this to like. This has actually been done before, which is why they're taking it off. There was a attempt to hack bank apps by positioning an edit box, like a text field, above where they put their account information, and it would detect when account information is being like trying to be entered. It would put these boxes and then capture what the person types. So things like that you can't do basically. So you can set a window secure so that can't happen. Anyway, so yeah, you can let's add the button back in here for funsies. There you go. We have a counter. So effectively, what you could also do is you can do there's a few things like I don't know if you can do live wallpaper still on Android, but if you can, there's no reason why your Flutter activity couldn't also be a live wallpaper and sit behind the icons and be there. You can remember Flutter is just a view, which is how everything gets displayed on Android. So you can put it anywhere and integrate anything inside of the Android operating system. Anyway, so hopefully that was fun. A little bit of fun at least. What else do we have on the list? What was on the list?
Okay, the next one was putting some data tables in a single child scrollable.
Right.
This is the intrinsic is the thing you said would fix this.
Right. So he said it didn't. He said he tried it and didn't fix it. But let's have a go, shall we? So Humpday, what are we on? 2024.
1016.
16.
Yep.
Is that all big enough? Can you see all that text?
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Probably means big enough if people have decent sized monitors at home.
Could probably make it bigger. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Right. So we have.
On train continues here. It also tried solutions for Flutter issue 14488, except for using any packages.
Well, let's have a look. Let's see if we can figure this out and see what's going on.
Okay.
All right. So we got a container and we're saying let's do a piece of material. Yeah, we can't do that. Give me numbers. Sure, we'll just do material.
Living in a material world.
It was a single child scroll view, right?
Yep. I think. Get rid of it already. Yes, single child scrollable, but I would guess that's a scroll view.
Yeah. Why is that white and black? Isn't that interesting?
I don't know. Oh, train continues. My current solution is to calculate the height of each text using text painter height. Oh, that sucks.
No.
Which is far from an ideal solution. Really, ideal solution is north. This is south. It's definitely
No, I appreciate that. It's actually like quite a valid like idea. But the problem
Yeah.
here is that, again, you're trying to bring layout into build, right? Which is always the
yeah.
failure point. Why have we?
If you're gonna do that, use
Why have we got,
boxy.
why have we got two colors? That is curious. I want to know now. Text. Hello. It's like it's not rendering it or something. But
You got mad from the previous exercise. It says you're not getting to render anything now.
Oh,
Everything's transparent.
Oh, yeah, it's rendering now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a bug there in the Windows. I've got some old Windows code in this project, so probably that. Right, good. So we've got a white screen. Fine. Let's do dark mode though, because I want to keep my retinas, and I'm sure everyone else does. Theme data dot. Yeah.
I don't see much use for them.
He goes, I can feel code. I breathe code. Who needs to see code? All right. So
I'm a pinball wizard. I'm like, I can do it by deaf, dumb, and a blind kid.
So you've got data. So you've got a data table with a certain number of columns and rows, I guess. So first of all, let's take out the single child scroll view before it don't cause problems. Let's get a data table when they're working. I've not used data table in ages, so we're going to find out less bugs and dark mode. Exactly. You can see the bugs easier. That's the way it works. All right. Oops.
They're highlighted.
Right. So apparently this is a list. I'm assuming rows is a list as well. And then in here we have a data column. And column has a label, which is a widget, which is going to have, I don't know, name, age, I don't know, something like that. And then rows, data row with the cells. And is that a data cell? It is, with a widget, which is going to be a text, Simon. And we're going to ignore the rest. So does this one just a series? Oh yeah, series of cells in the row. Yeah, okay.
If I was like the pinball wizard and couldn't see here, or
let's just do
whatever. I'd be good at detecting code smell. It'd be my only sense left. Code smell. I know I should have come up with that joke 2 minutes ago.
Okay, there we go. So now we have two columns, name and age, and as you can see, overflows. So this is interesting. So the data table itself, though, it's got it's paginated data table. That's the one I was thinking of. So you're using data table or paginated data table. There's a question, I'd say. Train, come back to us on that one. But you're saying that, like, okay, I want to make this scrollable now, right? Because it's overflowing, and we want to put that in a single child scroll view, right? That's obviously the obvious solution here. So if I wrap that in a single child scroll view, what happens? Let's have a look. Errors. Error. Is that because it's still overflowing or not? Let's have a look. Yes, it's still overflowing. Okay. So this be the bug that you're talking about. So that's interesting. So the data table itself.
Data table.
When does it? That's super interesting. I would not expect that from data table. So should we go hunting? Should we go bug hunting? Let's go bug hunting.
Sure.
We need like epic music. Oh,
We need copyright-free epic music.
the height of each row. Data row height. Data row min. Data row max. If null, the theme data row height is being used. Migrate to using min and max instead. Oh, that just feels nasty. And there's definitely some things that I again, it's like about the material, right? There's a material design widget, and it's not difficult to do that kind of thing yourself without data table. I'm kind of curious if there's any big particular features of data table that you're using train of thought, because you're probably better off not using it. This doesn't feel very nice, put it that way. Let's have a look. Handle selection, build checkbox. My God, what are you doing? Effective data row min height, max height. So there's a box constraints on each cell with a min max height. It's on the cell. Yeah, build data cell. And then that's put inside the table row inkwell. And you're saying intrinsic height doesn't work? It does not. What are they doing that's weird then? Because that's interesting. Let's take it. Let's just go have a quick hunt through here. I know this is not great viewing, just seeing someone scroll through code, but we're going to try and diagnose this. So this is theming. I'm in the wrong file. There we go. That's the file I want to be in. So table row inkwell is an ink response. Sure. Render table. Oh, no. They're using custom render objects. Why are they using custom render objects? This is the thing, right? There was some widgets at the very beginning of Flutter's life cycle that was everything was a custom render object, because they weren't like built up of other widgets, right? Like it's just one of those things that took place. A lot of them have migrated, but now look at this going, I wonder if this is some table. Okay. So this is, first of all, data table is just a table widget. Okay. It converts the table columns as a map to put them column widths, and then table rows, it builds up a series of table row widgets based on the contents of the widgets. Hang on. What time is it? Okay.
Top of the hour. So we're 2 hours in.
1 second, everyone. So back to this. Right. Table rows. So this is building up a series of table rows and columns, and just pass them to the table widget, right? So we could get rid of all this complexity by just forgetting about that. That's the first thing, right? Table row and table itself is definitely flexible, and you can definitely put them in. I can't think of a time when they've not doing what I want them to do. Let's just have a quick look here. Hang on. Table widget. Let's go take a look at table widget. So, all right. So we could do this right now. We could make a table widget. Let's get rid of the intrinsic height here, and get rid of the scroll view. We're going to comment out the data table for a second and put in a normal table. The children of a table.
Scroll wheel seems to be inside the column. Oh, we just got rid of that, right?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Did I do that? Maybe I did. Maybe I was being an idiot. Because again, that wouldn't work, right? But this would work. Maybe it was complaining about single child scroll view. Yeah. Oh look, there you go. But it doesn't scroll. Oh, it does, but it's sorry, scroll. Okay, so that's working. I was gonna say it does work.
Oh.
So what's the problem? We're saying that you're saying that you can't do what now? You want multiple of these inside a scroll view, right? Well, just to put multiple. What? So if I wrap this in a column, and we do 4 int j. Oops. J is less than 20. J plus plus. And then have name j. J. So, yeah, you're at const. Well, that looks like it works. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I being punked?
Yeah, train. Is that doing what you wanted to do?
I mean,
So,
the first thing you do,
done.
train, is make yourself a little demo, right? Make sure that you're isolating what your problem is. Let's do top. No. I guess there's now a gap between them. I mean, we could have it stretch. Cross-axis line stretch. There you go. I mean, it's working. What was it that didn't work? I mean, I can get rid of the scroll views. What we don't need that column. It didn't work for you, but now it works for me. Basically, that's fine. That's fine. But this is what we're learning, right? Like
yeah.
Why we're doing this, right? So this is kind of interesting. Like, I think what you probably got a problem. Let's start again. I think your problem, probably train of thought, is what the constraints are doing coming to the scroll view. If you want, like, it's a bit like what I just had. You're probably missing expanded around your scroll view. The scroll view requires its cross-axis, right, to be known. Sorry, actually, it requires both axes to be known. I think, yes. So you can't put single child scroll view in another scrollable piece of content, right? That's not going to work without giving it a fixed height. The other thing you can do, which might work for you, is to use the new table scrollables. I think it's in the two we're looking at earlier. Well, the 2-dimensional scrollables, right? Is it? I think it was 2-dimensional scrollables that released these widgets. What was it? 2-dimensional scroll. Wasn't it table? Yeah, table view. So theoretically, you could just have a table view as a sliver, maybe. I don't know how this works. I think there's a sliver table view, if I remember rightly. Oh, it's been a while. Table view. No, because it's 2-dimensional, right? You can use the sliver cross-axis and sliver main group, I think it's called now, right? To actually build it up yourself. And that's another thing. If you feel that kind of makes more sense. A sliver main axis group and sliver cross-axis group, and then you can build whatever sort of set of like boxes that you want. I think there's an example here if this runs. Yeah, it did nothing. Well, nothing. I mean, it is working. Not what I was trying to do. Where's the cross-axis group when I want it? I swear there's a more complicated example somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Look, like a table, right? So if you, sorry, scroll the wrong thing. yeah, there's an example in here of how you can sort of build your constrained, like different slivers into whatever you want. So hopefully maybe that helps. Were you talking about the size box to expand? No, that didn't do anything really. It's just it forced it to be larger. It won't make a difference now because the widgets are consuming the space. When I didn't have the widgets in the first place, I added it to see if it would force it out. You don't need it.
Yeah.
There's nothing magical here, right? Like it's just a single child scroll view with a column with the stuff inside it. Done. So
I've got one more live coding thing if you want to take that on.
Yeah. What else do I have on the list?
Right here. I really like using the sliver at bar, but when I use sliver fill remaining, it remains unnecessary scrolling on the page. Is there a way to do sliver at bar without using slivers, but maybe there's a way to do it correctly with slivers?
So train of thought, I don't need, sorry, it's just can't continue where we are. And you don't need expanded widget in this case because I don't have, if I need expanded if the single child scroll wheel was in a column, so we need to know the height, right? Otherwise it'd be unconstrained height, right? Anyway. Okay, sorry, this was sliver stuff. We're gonna jump on something else now. Let's do another example. I could post this example, but I don't think it needs it. Unless anyone wants it. It's just,
well, wasn't it slightly different from what train of thought already had? So maybe it'd be
no,
nice.
This is basically what he was doing already. So
okay, all right.
I'm fine leaving unless anyone wants it. I think this is if it's one screen of code, like So where was it? So yeah, with the let's do the materials. This was a sliver. The question here was sliver. So we'll do a custom scroll view. That's how you do slivers. And inside here, we can set up a set of slivers. And what I want to do is be lazy and copy. I had a behavior. What was the behavior of this one? Scroll behavior. I'm doing this because I'm running this on desktop and I want to drag on desktop like a mobile, just for example purposes, right? Right, let's hit stop. And we'll start this one up. Give me those. Right, so we have custom scroll view. So if you want to do a custom scroll view, let's see. So we've got sliver at bar, sliver at bar, sure. Title text. This is the title. There you go. Let's give it a background. There it is. And then underneath that, we want a sliver fill remaining. And let's do a placeholder in here. It's not going anywhere else it shouldn't go. What was the question was sliver at bar, but when I use sliver for remaining unnecessary scrolling on the page. Am I missing something? I mean, it's not what I'm saying here.
Yeah, we'll have to get his exact code to be able to figure out.
Yeah, maybe post. So we did this before. Maybe next week, post a gist. Use gist.new, the website. You can post new gist, and then you send the hatch of the gist into the chat. Or you can find that. Hope that works.
And right. somehow I missed a question from.
No, I think this one. Go on, bring it up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, the one I saw the chat.
Sure. I don't remember us addressing that at all.
I'm using a sliver app bar. How to design sliver fill remaining with top left and top right border radius. Final design will look like Stack first is at bar and second bottom position with high. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of gibberish to
Sorry.
me. Yeah.
Maybe
Come
do
back
it
next
again.
week.
It's around a
Come back
gist.
next. Yeah.
I think there was something that came up previously, which was this one here. I just want to. This has kind of come up a couple of times now. I feel like there was actually a train of thought posted this. I think load of completing your screen as you scroll, right? Is it possible to achieve page view scrolling physics with list view? Yes. You literally just use page scroll physics with list view. There you go. So I'll show you here. I literally this custom scroll view, I could do it on here. You specify physics, and then it's page scroll physics. Ta-da!
So that's going to be chunked as you scroll.
Yeah, you can even put a page controller in as your page controller. And
Wow.
it'll do exactly what a normal. I mean, all a page view is that it just defaults to that. That's it. There's no magical stuff around it. So if I make the state points, we've got a controller for page controller in here, right?
So all scrollables can be treated as page views?
Yep.
Cool.
I mean, you can even do custom page scroll physics and do cool snapping behaviors and things. I did one where you could like fling it and it would lock. It would eventually lock to the page, right?
Oh.
Like think of it like a fruit machine, kind of like like tumbling, then like it's lock to the page. You can do that kind of stuff.
Or a big spinning wheel that eventually clicks down to a particular item.
You can do. I mean, you can do all sorts of things, right? But just
nice.
Dispose. Yeah, pop that in there. And I guess what we could do, again, this is about us working out what would fill the screen. So you can do. We're gonna do this with slivers just because I'm here with slivers, and why not? Just so you can see how you might do something like this. So there's sliver layout builder and sliver constraints will pass you back a I'm just going to try something here. Sorry. Let's just do this. Let's see how this goes. I guess this is how I would do it if I was doing slivers, that is, without custom scroll view, as it were. So, oh yeah, because I need to do it. I'm doing it vertically. Why? I can't move it. Oh, because I only did one. So, that would help. 10. Do 10. Let's do 10.
Yep.
And then we'll put inside this, we'll put a child text with the number on it, just so we can keep track. Right, let's try this. Oh, here we go. It's just really small. Oh, it's at the top. All right. Put it in center. And then we'll just whatever.
This should be big enough.
Right. So on page 0, scroll. Page 1. Page 2. Oh, look. It's snapping to pages just like whenever
it drifts to get there. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's the page scroll physics. That's literally what it's designed to do. That's exactly what all this does with the velocity.
Wow.
So you didn't need a page view, right?
Yeah, nice.
There you go. And if you wanted, you could actually do this as a fractional size as well. And then you can do some alignment things. So if I did this as like 70% of the viewport size, then there you go.
Nice.
So it's going to snap weirdly right now because you need to set where's the controller? You need to set the viewport fraction to match so it knows. There you go.
Clever.
So if you wanted to, you can do less than 100%. Was that kind of what people were interested in?
I think that probably fits.
Should I post that? Are people interested?
I like it.
Be controller. People. I mean, there's so much you can do, right? I like the scroll view. I mean, you've got this obviously got the scroll bar being visible there.
A matter of programming.
Actually, there's a that's interesting. I wonder if that's because it's on desktop. It automatically puts the scroll bars in. Why do I have a feeling that?
Here's interesting. Can you please try to mouse scroll it?
Yeah, I'm mouse scrolling it here. There you go. You mean like with the wheel? There you go. So that's because the page scroll fizz is not accounted for it, right? Or you override your inputs and do it however you want. I mean, you've got full control. I can show you, like, for example, let me go find something. Pretty sure I have. Smooth. I really hate just search now. This pisses me off. This has changed it to piss me off. Smooth scroll. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's show you some magic. Should we show you some magic? We can show magic. We're allowed to do magic, aren't we? We can do magic. This is one of my other gists. I'm just like bringing it in, basically. Smooth scroll controller. And at the moment, it's not extending page scroll. So we're going to do smooth page scroll controller. Why not? Yeah. And we're going to have that. Where is it? Extend page controller. What does smooth page scroll controller need? We're going to need these variables. Let's just super these. Okay, and the page controller is just a scroll controller and it has a bunch of methods, but I don't think it overrides. Yeah. Okay, so it overrides with a page position and has an attach method. So we're going to have to copy these. Let's drop them in there. And page position. You can find that page position. Let's copy that. This makes us compatible. Sadly, it's private, which is annoying. So it means we've got to copy it. And this may go down the rabbit hole, which is a shame, but we'll find out.
Yeah, because you may have to copy some other local stuff too.
Hopefully not. We're going to find out, though.
Yeah. Import the world.
We'll come back to that in a second. That's because I've got it over in twice. I'm going to adjust that in a second. Precision error tolerance. Where's that global? Oh, it's importing from there. All right, we can do that. You can do it. There you go. What? Oh, that it? No more errors? Good. Okay. So that's enough to get all the standard behavior, right? And then what I'm going to do is bring this pointer scroll over into our page. Just going to chuck it here at the top.
Order, exporter, give me a match.
What's that from?
Line up my symbols. Catch me a catch. That's from Fiddler on the Roof. Matchmaker.
Okay, so we'll call it smooth scroll page position in a second, and then we'll pass that parameter over.
But because it qualifies as a parody, it should not be a copyright strike. If you don't see us next week, you'll know what happened.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so looks like that's enough. So basically, we've created a custom page scroll controller, which is basically a copy of the original with this velocity multiplier, which sets it at 5. There's when it tries to create a position, which is how it tracks the position of the scroll. It'll then attach it like this and set the viewport fraction. Wonderful. I'm guessing this is because you can reattach it. So we should probably also have a setup for the viewport velocity multiplier, but I can't be bothered right now. And all we've done is we've added this member variable and then added pointer scroll, which basically continues a ballistic scroll based on the scroll wheel and max fling velocity and stuff. So if I now restart, it says, yes, it's going to have a problem attaching because we already had one and it didn't like that. That's fine. Let's run it again. Should be fine. Ooh. Oh.
Good.
Wait, what? Oh, because it's doing super attach. And we inherited from it, right? So we're inheriting from this and it can't cast it because it's private. So that's annoying because we needed to do this. I guess we can call this on attach. Oh, on attach. Oh, that's super annoying. This is what happens when everyone starts using private or final. Ugh.
Right.
Final classes. Ugh. On attach and look null. So to on attach, we'll call it after the fact, which is basically what we want this should have been doing, but they overrid the function instead. Oh, that's just annoying. Should I guess because unattached is passed in. Hang on. Yeah, you can pass it in an unattached method. But we still can't let this run the default method. So we can add a listener and then positions. Can we even attach? Can we even access? Oh, you can access positions as an iterable. So we could, because it's, this is going to be really hacky, guys. But we're going to do it, okay? We're going to do it. We're going to hack around the framework a bit. We're going to go a bit hacky here. Basically, I need to replicate the behavior of this original functions so that I'm not calling the super, right? So I can't call any of this code. So right now, what's happening is it calls attach. Let me go down to this method here. It calls super.attach. Super.attach tries to then cast the page position. It's not that anymore. So what we actually need to do is replicate the original behavior and not call super, right? So we're going up another level, but positions is not accessible, right? However, positions getter is, so that could work, but we can't add because it's an iterable. However, what we can do is do something really, really naughty here and cast this as a list because it is actually a list of scroll position and it doesn't wrap it on the return result. So that works. It's really nasty code though, because this is basically it's called upcasting. We're basically not adhering to the original pattern. So if some point the superclass no longer has positions being this type, this would crash, right? So you'd have to do is beforehand, and if it's not, assert, break, throw other errors. It's not great code, but this will work. So we're going to go with it. There you go. So we see what happened. Did this fix the scroll wheel thing on desktop? Let's find out. have we hit a break point? I don't think so. I think that was just garbage from before. So scroll wheel. Hey, look, it scrolls really nice. How about that?
Nice.
So yeah.
Cool. So that solves the problem for something with an R and something with an S.
Name with an R.
Yes.
R.
R.S.
Yeah, I'm scrolling my mouse will look just slightly up and down, and there you go.
You have to get it past a tipping point, or is it just any movement in that direction?
Well, I'm just trying to work that one out. I scroll up. The down is working just fine.
Oh.
Interesting. And it's definitely not working the way it should, and I can't be well fixing it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just
some more math.
We're already running over our show end, actually.
Yeah.
Anything else? I think we could probably park it here.
We're 2.5 hours in, so it's plenty good for a show.
Okay, hang a minute. I was showing my description. Silver app bar height is 150. On top of that, I want to use sliver remaining.
This is the question that we said they need better description and come back next week.
Still don't get it. Sorry. Post it post next week. Post a gist, and you can put the. We already tried to address your live coding. You said, "Can we expect it?" Well, we've already just tried, right?
Yeah,
and you're not.
It was about 5 minutes earlier.
Not good enough to explain what was going on. So, I mean, this is just not enough.
I said that already to him. So
on top, I want to use sliver remaining. It should start from that height of app bar 130. We just said the app bar is 150. I know you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, we need more data.
I have another question regarding data table. Is it an issue if we add data table to a list as it scroll? No.
Shouldn't.
You can change the layouts however you want. Doesn't matter if you're scrolling or not. Because what will happen is when the height changes, the size changes, which reports the scroll, which reports the view content size. Yeah, you should be fine.
Yep.
If you've got problems, there might be an issue there, but we can address it next week. Post code snippets, get gists together, and we can look at some people's code next week.
And DST is approaching, not next week, so it won't affect next week. But the week following is the weird week where you all have already changed, but us all haven't. So we need to decide which of the two time zones are we going to use to decide when this show
post an hour earlier or an hour later in 2 weeks' time. There you go. That's what Randall's saying. We haven't figured that. So, right.
If we go according to my time, then it's going to be an hour earlier, 2 weeks from now.
All depends. It all depends.
Yes.
Maybe we could do. I tell you what, we could do, Randall, next week. If we start doing maybe just do a live coding and then have questions along the way. But it might be cool to make like a custom widget with multiple children, like a like render object multiple children and stuff. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
I don't know. Anyway, right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in 160 something hours next week.
165 and a half.
There you go, 5.5. Right. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Ciao.